What's up, guys? Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique. Today, what I wanted to talk about is your mental health. So hey guys, Happy New Year again, 2018, week in, right? We're 1 week in. It's fucking Monday, and you know what that means? That means stress is high. Worried about going back to work, worried about new relationships, worried about whether or not you're gonna make it to the gym, or if your fitness goals are gonna happen this week. Worried, right? And so I know you guys know me, and I am big on the mental aspect because, you know, what the mind does, the body does as well. And so today, I'm going to share a little bit with you guys about my life, and I sort of want to talk about that because I think that it has a very big impact on the process. I really want to be real with everybody. I don't want everyone to think that life is fucking hunky-dory all the time and that everything's just great. And I want to hopefully, sharing my experiences helped you guys out to deal with yours. I think that mental health is one of those very difficult things to deal with because it's still sort of stigmatized, right? Like, we still call them going to the shrinks when it's a psychologist, you know what I mean? Like, there might be an imbalance of chemicals in your brain that's causing you to feel the way you do. Why the fuck should you feel bad because you need somebody to help you deal with that, right? And so I think that obviously there's this idea, there's this feeling that tough people deal with things on their own, and I don't think that is always necessarily the case. There are so many times in life when you need help, when you cannot do it alone. And so I want to encourage you that if you're having a hard time, go find help. And I think that this is part of it, okay? So for those of you who know me, you know that I am kind of a high-strung dude. I've been a high-strung person for a very long time, and I don't believe that I have really given it much weight in my life. But as 2018 has begun and 2017 has culminated and come to an end, it has come to a point where it is now negatively affecting my life, my anxiety. I had, for the first time in my life, a actual panic attack the other night, right? And so thankfully I have people around me that can help me out. But the truth of the matter is that tells me that something is going on in my life that needs to be dealt with. Now, whether that's I need to deal with it in my own way, or I need to figure out better coping mechanisms, or I need to go see somebody to find out if there is something wrong going on in here that is causing this, it doesn't matter, right? Because here's the point, whether it's anxiety or whether it's depression or whether it's OCD, if it's keeping you from doing the things you love and if it's messing up your life, it's important to deal with it. And a lot of these things aren't things that we can deal with just on our own. We might find coping mechanisms. They might help us for a short time or even for a long time. But there also eventually might be a day where those coping mechanisms are no longer beneficial to us, but they're hindering us from the things that we want and that are important to us. And so I think that it is very important to take time to really be introspective with yourself. And to pay attention to the things that are going on in life, to the changes that are happening, and sort of what they're doing with you mentally, physically, and psychologically. Mental health is such a large umbrella, right? It covers so many things. And we can talk about just disorders for hours and hours, right? We can talk about just having to deal with anxiety. We can talk about just having to deal with depression. We can talk about just having to deal with this or that. Or we can even talk about something like body image and how that affects us. And we can talk about these things for hours and hours and hours and barely scratch the surface. And I think that that's the hard part because these things are so deeply rooted within our lives, right? It's part of who we are. It's become a part of who we are. And so a lot of the times there's things in our childhood that are a huge factor in it. And there's things in our daily routines that are a huge factor in it. And so it's not a simple thing to deal with. And I don't want to say that in a point where be overwhelmed, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed, because we obviously can deal with it and we've seen it. But I think that the main issue that comes in is having the courage to go out and to seek help, and whether that's from your spouse, your family, your friends, or somebody with a degree that's going to be able to clinically help you to deal with it. That becomes very important, because if you're always stressed out, right, cortisol's high, and we know that has health implications on the body. So we want to pay attention to that. And if you're always anxious, like, that can negatively affect appetite, or it can trigger stress eating. Depression definitely negatively triggers appetite. It increases our chances to, have bad relationships with alcohol, or maybe certain types of drugs, and abusing those. And so if we're not paying attention to these things, and we're simply allowing them to ruin our lives, because subconsciously they do this on a very regular basis, we can start losing things that are important to us, because we are not paying attention to what it is that we're doing. So my big thing this week is that there are a lot of ways that these issues manifest themselves. And so if things are going wrong, or things just aren't feeling right, it's important that we take time, and I would encourage you to step back. Really look at what's going on. Look at the motivations for what's going on, why you're doing the things you're doing, the feelings that you're feeling when those things are happening. Really take that time to just get out of the moment and really dig deep to figure out why it is these things are happening. I believe it was Socrates that said that the unexamined life is not worth living. I don't think that applies simply to motivations, the things you love, and for, just this overall big picture of life. I think that we need to take that every so often and apply that to ourselves, to our psychological health, and to what's going on in our lives. Because if we don't, we will allow that to rule us, right? And nobody wants to live in depression. Nobody wants to live always worried about everything that could happen, or even sometimes not knowing what it is that's freaking you out, but just having a trigger that sets you off, right? So we need ways to be able to manage that, so that we can still live happy, productive, full lives. And not just in the gym, and not just following, these fitness goals and these physicality things that we often get stuck on, but really paying attention to the things in life that matter, like making good impressions, and helping the people we love, and being there for one another, and being happy as much as we possibly can. So I know, guys, that this is way off the fucking spectrum from fitness, but mental health is still health. It is still something that we need to be very aware of, that we want to take care of, and that we do not want to take lightly or ignore. I will encourage you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you for seeking help. There's absolutely nothing wrong with needing someone else, or needing that extra oomph in your life to help get you through. Anybody who makes you feel that way is an asshole, and they can go themselves, right? So if you're going through something, if you're going through a struggle, like if you find that the anxiety is overwhelming, if you find that something just is welling up and it's too much, do a couple things. Really look at the situation. See if it's something you can handle yourself. See, maybe you just need to cut prep. Maybe you're just at the gym too much. Maybe you're just focusing too much on your body composition, and your body image is being negatively impacted by it, right? So maybe there's something that you can do within your own life that can help and that can make life better. And maybe it's something real, and maybe it's something clinical, and maybe maybe you need to go see somebody about it. Maybe I need to go see somebody about it, right? And at that point, we need to make an appointment. We need to reach out for that help. Remember, there is nothing wrong with needing help, okay? It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you unable. It makes you human. And that's just all we are as humans. We're all imperfect. We all have our stuff going on. We all have our own weaknesses and imperfections, okay? So remember that if you need help, it's okay to go out and get it. Guys, I know this is a little bit different, but it was something that was weighing on me after this weekend, and something that I felt is rarely talked about, and probably needs to be talked about more often. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. I hope your week is filled with joy and happiness, and I will talk to you soon.